A very good morning to you all, and welcome to this last day in the second week of Lent, the 2nd of March. So, we have we are at the midway point of Lent, and I'd like to inquire after how each one of you are doing this Lent with respect to the goals that you might have set in the beginning of Lent. If you said you were struggling, then that's a good sign because it means that you have made a significant effort in drawing closer to God. As no victory is had without a struggle. Coming back to the gospel today, the story in summary reflects God's unconditional love and forgiveness towards sinners. The Father represents God who eagerly awaits the return of every lost soul. The gospel today is an all too familiar one, the return of the prodigal son. And I need not tell you because you would have heard this account several times in your life. But coming back to the main story in summary, God's unconditional love and forgiveness towards sinners is reflected over here. The Father represents God who eagerly awaits the return of every lost soul. The prodigal son symbolizes sinners who stray from God's path, but they can always find forgiveness and recognition through sincere repentance. But instead of focusing on the Father's love or the prodigal son, I want to, for a change, focus our attention on the elder son's reaction. It highlights another important aspect of the parable. Nobody ever talks much about the elder son, but he represents those who struggle with self righteousness and fail to understand the depth of God's mercy. Despite his faithful obedience, he resents the lavish welcome given to his wayward brother. And this reminds us that we should avoid the trap of pride and judgmental attitudes. We've been talking a lot about judging others, and being humble in the previous reflections. Instead, we should embrace humility and compassion. And that's the lesson that we can learn from the reflection on the elder son's reaction. Overall, the parable of the prodigal son emphasizes God's boundless love, his mercy, and the need for repentance and reconciliation from our side. It encourages us to turn to God with repentant hearts, knowing that He eagerly awaits our return. With open arms, He is ready to forgive and restore us to relationship with Him. Isn't that a beautiful thought that we can always go back and be restored to our old glory? As we come to enter the second half of Lent, brothers and sisters, I want to once again urge you to reflect your past, reflect your sinful nature, and make a good attempt, a good honest confession before we get too deep into the final days of Lent. God bless you and have a wonderful second half of the Lenten journey ahead.